decision. And there's an argument to be made that we shouldn't expect the footballers themselves to do the speaking.
Yeah, this is a big bugbear of mine, which is why I went on a rant yesterday. And I'm sure you're feeling a little bit nervous that I'm going to go on a rant now. But
I think if you said all the things you said yesterday, we might get in trouble with Steve Hankey. So just tone it down ever so slightly.
I'll turn it down. But there seems to be this weird sleight of hand that has happened in modern society whereby rich and powerful people can make unilateral decisions and then they can defer ethical responsibility to people who are not them to make these sorts of moral stances that we're talking about here. So the people who have decided that the World Cup should be in Qatar and that it should be played in this way and this is how it's going to be structured are people who are heads of state, people in FIFA, people who are very wealthy and in terms of corporate influence.
Some people who spent time in jail and others who are dead.
And what we've seen happen then is this assumption that these people aren't to be held morally responsible because they will refuse to. And so the moral buck is sort of passed on to the people who are taking part. So the footballers suddenly become the moral arbiters of whether or not this sort of thing should happen. And I think I'm very happy that Bruno Fernandes has spoken out. I think he, as Seb says, he doesn't have to do that. I would like all footballers to talk out about all areas of life when people who are discriminated against or people who are minorities or just anyone who is downtrodden by people in power to be able to speak up in these situations, but it's not their responsibility.
Yeah.
And we should never fall into the trap of thinking that is the case.
Yeah.
Because by doing that, what we actually do is play into the hands of the people who are morally responsible, who get away with it, because people are then like, well, these footballers should just not turn up to the World Cup.
Yeah.
They should all wear T-shirts.
They're all as bad as each other. They're all going anyway.
Yeah.
As if anyone leads like an uncompromised life.
Yeah.
In
These
the modern
people,
world.
these people are workers. Like they are the best paid workers that have ever existed in world history, but they are still workers. And what we're expecting them to do is to do something that which could compromise their career in the future. And we're saying to them, look, you've worked really hard to get to this point in your career, and the pinnacle for a lot of you is playing on a World Cup. And we're saying that you should just take the decision to not turn up because the people who actually make these decisions haven't been able to make the sorts of responsible decisions we think they should. And I just think it's unfair to expect footballers to make those sorts of moral choices. They are not the people who are the moral fulcrums in this sort of debate.
Yeah, just to add to that, like I couldn't agree more with what John is saying, but also like to frame it, how much have you heard from politicians in the UK or anywhere about this? How much have you heard from people who are actually supposed to be statesmen and women, who actually have the full vantage point on geopolitics, who have the resources behind them to investigate and analyze and evaluate the decisions that were made that have led us to Qatar? Like, what on earth makes you think that a footballer holds ultimate responsibility, at least ahead of people like that, in the hierarchy of importance? John is right. You get people who make decisions and face absolutely no recourse for them. In fact, they get wealthy as a result of them. And at the same time, all the people that who typically traditionally are there to protect citizens or to speak on behalf of citizens, you hear nothing from. And yet, as a result of footballers' place in society, they acquire this weird responsibility to be a sort of a public voice. It's utterly bizarre. And also, given the sort of given the volume of noise that the average footballer has to withstand on a daily basis, someone of Bruno Fernandes standing in the game, like, can you imagine the kind of the strength of character you need to stand front and center of this kind of conversation? I think on a personal level, I think a little bit of comprehension of what that requires wouldn't be a bad thing, and how difficult a position that should be for someone who is paid to play football. And I think in the abstract, it does describe just how bizarre footballers become that we're in this situation at all.
Yeah.
If you liked today's video, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you did like it, you might be interested in How to Watch Football, Tifo's illustrated book. It's 52 rules for understanding the beautiful game on and off the pitch, and it is the perfect holiday gift. How to Watch Football is out now in stores and online. See the link in the description to find out more, and thank you for watching today's video.